What is up guys, it is Simba here and welcome back to the Hungarian Ring. But before we get into today's action, I want to give a big shout out to Mythical, aka Tom. The reason why I'm doing this is because he is a massive fan of the channel and he is responsible for the thumbnail for today's video, and I think it looks amazing. So he's done a great job there, and we move back to the Hungarian Ring for today's SLR video, which is the 10th round of the season, and we are looking to carry on building momentum. The last race was at Silverstone. Check the link at the top right, and obviously you guys know that I've recently raced around here in AEC Tier S, so we have a good idea of what we can do over one lap. But the session is not going to start too well. We take a bit too much curb on the entry and that just steers us wide, and we do invalidate on the first run, which is never a good start to any qualifying session. We carry on the same set of tyres. We had enough fuel to do a second lap, which is a benefit around Hungary. You can just do a second lap, but we almost ruined that one as well, as we have a massive moment through turn 11. So we got away with that one. We did a 53.7 in the middle sector, and I'm just glad we didn't end up binning it there, because that could have easily happened. So managing to get away with a massive moment as we come around the last corner. It's going to be a pretty solid banker nonetheless.
I'll take that, considering I nearly spun.
And you can hear me being quite satisfied with that. And I can tell you, at this point in the session, Darren was on pole position. He did a 15.1, so he's actually ahead of us right now, as we're going to get ready for our second lap of the session. And this turned out to be our best lap of the session. So, here we go then. Open DRS at the end of the last corner. Make sure you get some decent traction out of there as well. And you barrel the car towards turn number 1. Spot the curb on the left hand side, third gear, make sure you get the car nicely turned in for the apex, and get on the throttle as soon as you can for the DRS, literally at the exit. And as you go into turn 2, once again open up the corner, make sure you get as tight as you can to the apex at turn 2. Turn 3, I have no idea what I was doing here, that was a terrible run, and we're down on the delta a little bit, but it is a 0.1, so we've just thrown away a bit of time for no reason, but we nail turn 4, and through turn 5, we are nearly a 10th up, so we managed to turn that around a little bit. Through the chicane, nicely done, but we just the car bounces about there on the curb, as we didn't really open up the corner enough. But we still nail turns 8 and 9 once again. We lose a bit of time on the exit though, we didn't really maximise it, but we don't nearly spin through the right hander this time, and we've gone purple with a 53.5. And that is a very good middle sector. So now we come through towards the final 2 corners of this track. We are definitely on course for a 14 this time. Round the final corner, the Haas in the pit lane does lag a little bit, but we cross the line now, and it's a 14.9.
Go away.
And you can hear the banter between me and Darren as I knock him off the front row. And one thing that you did notice there is that we're only 600ths off Midsy's time, and I feel like we have a little bit more in the tank, so we could be on for a push for pole. Let's see if we can do it on the last run of the session as we open DRS for the final time, and we are blasting our way down towards the first corner. Once again spotting the curb on the left hand side, but we don't quite nail the apex there through turn 1, and that's cost us just over half a tenth. So we're going to have to make up for it in the next few corners. Down to turn 2, making sure that we're nice and tight through the apex there, and we get a pretty nice run. A much better run through turn 3, but going into turn 4, 6th gear, we just missed the apex, and that is qualifying in the bin. And sadly we do not keep the front row. We are demoted to P4 with a reserve driver of Ads nearly getting pole, and Drastic Blaze once again overperforming and really showing that he is a force to be reckoned with over one lap. So it is P4 for the Hungarian Grand Prix. I'm pretty satisfied with it, but I feel like we could have got pole. But it is still a solid starting position for the race. So here we go then. You join us at the formation lap, parking up for the Hungarian Grand Prix, where we will be starting from 4th place, behind Drastic Blaze, Ads, who I haven't seen in ages, and Midsy, who is on pole position. Crucially, he's on medium, so let's see what we can do off the line. 5 red lights for the Hungarian Grand Prix, and the lights are out, and we are underway here in the Hungarian for for the second time in the space of a few days. But the start isn't great. You can see on the left-hand side the championship leader of Snipes looking to go round our outside. We're still side by side with the Alfa Romeo going into turn 2. You can see Ads aggressively covering off Drastic Blaze right in front of us, and that boxes us in just a little bit. We try and hold it around the outside, but Snipes gets the better run out of turn 2, and we've lost a place. As you can see, Griffiths and Roller momentarily in the background, both going off the track there. But unfortunately for us, we're down to P5, and we're going to have to settle in this position for the time being.
Why do people feel the need to try and move at a chicane? Go away.
Exactly what
So we cut on to lap 3. You can hear Darren being very annoyed in the background as he's been the victim of 2 overtakes at the chicane. Corey squeezed him out a little bit, and Sora made a very aggressive move on him. And Darren's lost quite a couple of places already in this race. Meanwhile, just in front of us, Snipes has just got past the AlphaTauri Drastic Blaze. Now, we're aiming for a podium here. So if we want to get a podium, we have to keep up with the guys in the top 3. So we're draining the battery and taking advantage of Drastic Blaze's poor run out of the penultimate corner. We hit the brakes nice and late, and we get the car slowed down. And that is a very nice move. Up into P4, back to where we started in this race. And it's going to be crucial to keep up with the championship leader. Snipes is quite a quick driver, as he's shown already this season with the race wins he's got. So keeping up with him is going to be quite a task, but we both go wide at turn 4, and once again we get a warning at turn 4, which isn't ideal at all. It is our first warning this time, so it's not 2 warnings in 4 laps, and nothing much happens as we skip all the way to lap 13. We've just been in a DRS train. ERS management has been pretty solid as well, as we've been fending off Crispy and Griffiths behind us, but again we just mess up turn 4, and that is our second warning for track limits. We have a bit of a moment through turn 5 as well, and now we're going to have to do 23 laps of the Hungaroring without getting another warning, because if we do, we'll once again get a 3-second time penalty, and that will definitely hurt our chances of getting a podium. Meanwhile, Midzi has took off on his medium tyres. It's a bit like Elite Risks back in Austria. He just ran off on the softer, faster tyres, and as a result he's got a very nice lead, and no one's really catching him. On to lap 16 though, you can see we've been gapped a little bit by Ads. Snipes did overtake Ads as well, and he's gone in for a set of medium tyres. And now I've watched Marcel Kiefer's video from Hungary when he did it in PSGL. Lap 16 is quite early for medium tyres, so I'm thinking now we're going to try and go a little bit longer, just so we have better tyres right at the end, because having fresher tyres around a track where it's very difficult to overtake will be massive, especially towards the end of the race. On to lap 18 we go. We haven't had the best in lap. You saw us make a bit of an error through turn 12, I think it's turn 12. Yeah, but we get away with it. We're going to box a few laps later. You can see the gap between me and Snipes is about 3 seconds. So this is an undercut attempt on Snipes, the championship leader, and it's an overcut attempt on the Williams of Crispy, because he pitted a few laps ago for medium tyres, and we're going to strap on a set of mediums to the end of the race. So we did about half the race on one set of hards, and unfortunately for us, this is where we kind of messed up, because as you can see, we're coming out of the pits. We are behind the Aston Martin of SOR Jam. Now, you might be thinking, Brad, that's not a problem. You can pass him easily. Problem is, this track is referred to as Monaco without the barriers, and you're going to see why. Look at this. So, we realise that we've got much fresher rubber. Up the inside we go at turn 11, or turn 12 actually, and Jam is still fighting us here.
What's he doing? This guy's a prick, honestly.
Now, Jam did apologise for this, because he knows he's shafted us. As you can see, we get past him. Now, Corey's having a go at us, and in the distance, Snipes has just come out of the pits. So this undercut attempt has effectively done absolutely nothing. And Corey is still there. He's still trying to hang on to the outside line at turn 2. We try and fend him off, but going into turn 3.
Right, cheers, pal. I really appreciate that, mate. Honestly. That's literally all he knows, just push people off the track because he's a cunt.
And as you can tell, I am not very happy. Not one bit.
I remember that time I didn't give you
Corey
any
has...
headers.
He actually went on and did it to a few more people in the race as well, in this same race. So, racecraft-wise, it's in the mud. No wonder he's not leading the championship anymore. But he apologised for this as well. Jam did apologise for holding me up earlier. So, it's all well and good. But we are not looking to hang around for much longer. Corey's on all the mediums, and we're looking to repass him with immediate effect. I'm not very happy. We set a personal best on the mediums, and we go sailing right past the house. So we make sure we don't give him a sniff of a chance to repass us going into turn 2 by covering the outside line. And there you go. Up into P8 we go, as a few more people have made their stops. And at this point, you can see the gap between me and Snipe is still 2.7 seconds. So we've effectively gained absolutely nothing thanks to these shenanigans from Jam and Corey. So that's basically affected any chance of us getting a podium here in this race. And I point out that there's a Red Bull behind us of Griffiths, who's just pitted for soft tyres. So watch out for him. He will become important in a few moments' time. But for now, we've caught up to the AlphaTauri of Rigsy just ahead of us, one of our main rivals in the championship, who pitted quite a few laps earlier in this race, so his tyres are going to be much older than ours, and we go up the inside, and that is us up into P6, but through goes Griffiths, passing Corey and Rigsy out of turn 1, and he's up into P7, so Griffiths looking to make immediate progress on the soft tyres, and we're basically his next victim, unfortunately. We're next on the chopping block. As you can see, the Ferrari in front of us, a Bourbon boy, comes into the pits for a second stop in this Grand Prix. We will get DRS, but the plan here is not to fight Griffiths. He's on faster tyres, he's on fresher tyres, as he pitted on lap 20. So there's absolutely no point trying to fight him for position, and we just let him go going into the first corner, and that is him up to P5. So normally someone would try and fight him for position, even though he's on softs, but I'm thinking about the long game. There's still quite a few more places to win over in this race, and I'm not willing to make unnecessary risks just for a bit of fighting. It will just help absolutely no one, as he's pulled away from me and Crispy, who we've caught onto the back of, and once again it's a very nice, easy DRS overtake, getting the car slowed down for turn 1, and that is us into the top 5 once again in this Hungarian Grand Prix with just under 9 laps to go. I was hoping to catch up to Griffiths and just keep up with him so we can try and work together to catch ads, but it just turns out he was way too quick on the soft tyres, and yeah, that's basically ended any chance of getting a podium. But we've got other issues coming towards the final few laps of this race.
I've got 0.15 of fuel left.
So you can hear me say I've got 0.15 laps of fuel left.
Not ideal.
And that's why we've let Crispy through at the beginning of lap 31. I didn't expect this. I actually fueled up with like 1.4 laps of fuel, but I guess we might have, our fuel management hasn't been great, so now it's forced our hand a little bit to let Crispy through, get some fuel saved, so we can actually make a push on the closing lap or two of this Grand Prix. So not ideal. We are going to have to time this as well, and we're going to have to make sure that Corey isn't trying to overtake us as well. So yeah, it's not really great. I'd prefer to keep pushing. But speaking of the Haas behind us, he's actually going to have a little look going into turn 2, but we say absolutely not. You're not going to try and pass us again, mate. You're staying right behind us.
Piss off, Corey.
And you can hear me emphasise that as I tell the Haas driver to piss off. You know, it's not easy in this situation because remember, we've still got 2 warnings in this race, and if we get 1 warning now, that ends any chance of us getting a top 5 in this race. So we've still got a good chance to get a top 5, which would go a long way and show how much we've improved across the season. But for now, how are we going to do this? We've got 2 main overtaking opportunities, And the first one is a bit of a write-off because we didn't get the best of runs out of turn 13. And Crispy is draining everything down the straight as we start the last lap.
Use everything down the straight.
Meanwhile, my teammate is talking to Darren saying use everything down the straight. That's what Crispy has done, and he hasn't had the best run out of turn 1 as he tries to cover the outside. We're going to move to the inside at turn 2. There's a bit of contact between the two of us. We're nearly banging wheels through turn 3, and we complete the move.
Let's go.
And there you go. Racing done properly. We moved back into P5 on the last lap of this Hungarian Grand Prix, and we did it with some smart management. We do have enough fuel to get to the end of the race, and that's exactly what we do, holding off Crispy and Corey to claim a top 5. Snipes goes on to win again in SLR, but for us it is going to be another top 5 finish to end the first half of the season.
We'll take that, man. Fuck you know. Time
Come on.
perfectly.
This is good recovery, that. Come on. Oh,
Yes, Darren, mate.
Bloody hell.
Points, man.
man.
Oh, we love that.
And you can hear me talking to Darren after the race as he got P8 after starting there as well. So Darren's scoring 3 races on the bounce now. He's really turned around his form from the start of the season. But for us, it is a second consecutive P5 finish here, and a much better race than Wednesday where the pace was actually there. We managed to stay disciplined with a 3-second time penalty being avoided through the 35 laps. But I can't help but feel that we did lose out quite a lot in that pit stop phase. I feel like mirroring Snipes' strategy, he pitted a lap later than us. I feel like that could have basically given us a better chance to get a podium. But I will happily take P5. Very good pace in qualifying, very good pace in the race. And we did great management at the end to get Crispy and Corey in the closing laps of the race when I thought I was going to run out of fuel. So that ends the first half of the season. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments below. I think we moved into the top 6, but there's a lot more racing still to come in SLR.